Hi, I'm Jerry Damon, and right now our guest is Mark Henderson of the Inspired Legacy. Thanks for joining us today, Mark.
Jerry, it's a pleasure.
What
Thanks for
is
having
the
me.
Inspired Legacy, Mark?
Yeah, great question. Really, Jerry, in a nutshell, the Inspired Legacy is a resource and a community for dads looking to be the best dads that they can be. Dads, men, seeking that path towards their greater purpose, their
Now,
higher calling.
you have 3 children,
I
right?
have 3 kids, yeah.
How do you relate to that from the Inspired Legacy?
Well, I mean, having kids of my own is really the driving force behind this, right? Looking back on many years of my married life and raising kids, I think I left some things on the table.
Right.
And I don't have any significant regrets. My kids would, I think, agree that I've been a good dad. But there's always those things that you wish you would have done differently.
Right.
And so really the Inspired Legacy exists as my way of kind of helping steer dads away from some of the things that I felt like I missed out on.
What does it take to be a good dad today?
Oh gosh.
A lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Patience is one.
Patience is huge, but I think in this day and age when we're so distracted with media and handheld devices, I think being intentional and present in the moment is really key. Kids really want to know that they are the focus of your attention. And so I think it's healthy for your attention to be elsewhere at times, but when you're with your family at home, they want to know that dad's here.
Now, how do we apply biblical principles to being a good dad?
Yeah, so I think it starts with growing in your faith. You have to be open to what the Bible teaches. The Inspired Legacy really approaches everything through a lens of faith and spiritual growth. So you really have to be open to that. And so there's lots of practical wisdom in the Bible that we feel we can apply to our daily lives as men. And so I think when we do that...
Give me an example, can you?
Well, an example would be patience is a good example.
Right.
Our Father, our Heavenly Father, shows many examples of being patient with us when we stray off the path, and is very, very patient with us to kind of work with us and get us back on track. And so, we could probably have a whole show
Right.
just dedicated to that one topic alone.
The bottom line is, to be a good dad, you need to be with your children. There's the number one priority, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we want dads to, at the end of their life, to be able to look back, say they're on their deathbed, for example, to be able to look back and not really have any significant regrets and not feel like they left anything on the table.
So what do we find in the Inspired Legacy website?
Yeah, so when you go to our website, you're going to find a blog. You're going to find a little bit about the Inspired Legacy, what drives us, what motivates us. And we also just launched a podcast in February, so you're going to find links to all of those episodes as well. Currently, we're on a bi-weekly schedule, so if you go there today, you'll find 4 episodes to listen to right away. Our next one launches this Sunday, March 10th. And so,
What's that about?
So the next one coming up will be about sort of persevering beyond life's circumstances, beyond the circumstances that you've been dealt in life. And so the specific examples in that episode are focusing on myself and my guest, his name is Tamian Dysart. We both became dads at very early ages. I was 19, he was 17. We're both now successful, married with our kids. And so just talking about practical steps that guys who might find themselves in a similar situation, practical steps that they can take to kind of persevere beyond maybe that specific circumstance or other circumstances that they may be facing.
Now, negative is divorce. How do we as dads deal with that if we're separating from our partner?
That's
a tough one.
It's a tough one, and I've never gone through it, so I can't speak to that directly with through any experience of my own. But I think that, and again, this is easier said because I've not gone through it, but I think that you look at divorce rates across the country, they're astronomical. And
yeah.
I really think that, to be quite blunt, we need to try harder as men. When we stand up in front of the church and we take our vows, we say through better or worse, and the worse is going to be pretty frequent. Marriage is not all, roses.
Right.
It's hard work. It's really hard work, and you have to be intentional and you have to be present, like I talked about. And so, I think that when we find ourselves kind of in the trenches of marriage, we gotta be willing to roll up the sleeves and really give it a lot of effort,
Right.
and know that that's going to take time. It's not going to turn itself around right away. So we have to be patient and really work at it.
You address this in the Inspired Legacy website, but how do we deal with the loss of a child?
Boy, that's another tough one. One of my, I think it's episode 3, if I recall, of my podcast, we dive into that. We talk about grief, and there's a lot of misconceptions around grief. Fortunately, I've not had to deal with any significant loss like that, but really one of the key takeaways from that episode is we just have to lean on our faith, and that's one of the just sort of underscores the importance of establishing a faith and continually growing in our faith, because at some point in our lives we're all going to lose somebody, right?
Right.
And so if our faith is there and we can lean on it in those times, it's a key.
How do we find hope during those tough times?
Gosh, I think we just have to put our faith in tomorrow, right? Put our faith in the hope that God, the promises that God gave us. We're all going to kind of find ourselves in the valley from time to time, and so again, if we have that faith to lean on, it's going to get us through those valleys.
We can find that hope.
Yeah. So again, those valleys may last weeks, months, maybe years, but again, if we have that faith and look forward to tomorrow, and tomorrow may mean years from now, but really just buckle down and work towards those.
And the bottom line, Mark, is to focus on the positive in life.
Focus on the positive, absolutely.
Mark Henderson, The Inspired Legacy.
The Inspired Legacy, yeah, check it out.
All right. For I Love Life, I'm Jerry Damon.